Charlie Munger, as many of you will know, was one half of arguably the greatest investing partnership in history. He was right-hand man to Warren Buffett, and a couple of weeks ago he would have been 100 years old, but unfortunately he passed away a few weeks before hitting that milestone in November 2023. Today, I want to learn from the master, the best, poor Charlie. Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Pete Matthew and I'm a chartered financial planner based here in the UK. Now, Charlie Munger is famous for making and giving away a boatload of money, and also for his wit, his wisdom, and being able to summarize very succinctly some timeless truths about investing, wealth building, and life in general. So here are a few of my favorite Mungerisms, and at the end I want to bring it all together to the one variable that we can all work on, whether we're billionaires or whether we're still working to clear our debts. Here's Mungerism number one. The first rule of compounding is never to interrupt it. I love this, it's so simple. Compounding is the self-multiplying power that takes our humble efforts at saving and investing and snowballs it up and up and up. Eventually, it takes on a life of its own. We can almost sit back and watch while this universal mechanism does all the heavy lifting for us. Einstein called compounding the eighth wonder of the world. Charlie Munger warned us against interrupting it. So what did he mean by that? We grow our money most effectively by the continual repetition of some pretty simple habits. Paying ourselves first and regularly. Reminding ourselves to increase our savings rate at least once a year and whenever we get a pay rise or we come into some money. Interrupting that rhythm by skipping the regularity of investing or by withdrawing money in times of market difficulty. That's like accelerating the car with the handbrake on. You will still go forward, but you won't gather momentum as well or as fast. So don't get in the way of compounding. Get out of its way and do everything you can to help it along. Number two, if you're not willing to react with equanimity to a market price decline of 50% 3 times a century, you're not fit to be a shareholder and you deserve the mediocre result you're going to get. Don't mince your words there, Charlie. Picture this for a minute. You've been investing for a few years, and you're really proud of what you've built. Maybe you've recently hit 50,000 or 100,000 pounds across your savings, pensions, and ISAs. Nice work, brilliant milestone. Then a global pandemic hits, followed by war in Europe, high inflation, circumstances perhaps that we haven't seen for 40 years or more. The investments that you have chosen halve in value. You feel like you've gone backwards. You're where you were a few years ago. I mean, that's gotta suck. You feel awful. You're really hoping that your partner doesn't raise the subject because you don't want to have to admit that you've lost money. What do? Well, Charlie's quote says that you should have expected this and that you should, quote, react with equanimity. It's a big word. It means calmness and composure, especially in a difficult situation. So you don't panic. You don't bail out. In fact, you look for more money that you could invest because markets are cheap. You realize that you still own all the same assets as you did before the fall in value, and that actually the vast majority of the companies you're invested in will ride the difficulty out. You understand that markets are driven by sentiments as much as by economic fundamentals. And if those fundamentals haven't really shifted, then sentiment will recover before too long too. If you react like that, you deserve the benefits you will get from investing. So Charlie says. Mungerism number 3. The big money is not in buying or selling, but in waiting. Now, of course, it matters to some degree what assets you buy or sell as you're investing. And your timing will have an impact, of course. But what really matters is that you're in the game at all and that you stay in the game. Notice that Charlie says that it's the big money that is in the waiting. In order to let compounding do its work, we got to maintain our discipline. We've got to hold our nerve and do that for the long term. We have to wait. In a world that tends towards a desire for a quick win, we need to play the long, slow game. Investing is a multi-decade endeavor. So who cares what happens in 1 year, 2 years, even 5 years? What really matters is what happens over 30 or 40 years. That is where the big money is made. I got 2 more Mungerisms for you, but if this is useful so far, I've got 2 requests. First, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, because there's loads more to come. Second, head over to MeaningfulAcademy.com, where I've got a free course on financial foundations, and then there's also courses on building wealth and planning the perfect retirement. If you decide to try one of the paid-for courses, use the coupon code YouTube for a discount. MeaningfulAcademy.com. Here's Mungerism number 4. There is no better teacher than history in determining the future. There are answers worth billions of dollars in a $30 history book. Isn't it funny how every single piece of literature about investing that you'll ever see will carry some kind of warning about how past performance is no guide to future performance? So Charlie's quote about history being the best teacher about the future would seem to fly in the face of that. But, I mean, of course history is a guide. Human nature doesn't change, and we can see how humans and markets have responded in the past to different events and conditions. This is true on a personal level. If we have the wit to look at how we might have responded in the past, we can either repeat a good response or correct a bad one. We can learn from our past experience. And if we have a mind, we can read history in any sphere of the human experience, whether that's war or peace, prosperity or adversity, and we can understand something about how events might play out in similar conditions in the future. To determine what's coming down the line, the first place we should be looking is into the past. And finally, Mungerism number 5. It's remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid instead of trying to be intelligent. If building wealth was the sole preserve of the intelligent, or the highly qualified, or the well-connected, then the majority of us would have no hope, no chance at all. Fortunately, in order to gain exactly the same long-term advantage as one of the most successful investors of all time, all we have to be is consistently not stupid. It's actually a lot easier to avoid doing daft things than it is to work and gain vast knowledge. It's a lot simpler to maintain a simple set of disciplines and avoid some obvious pitfalls than it is to try and find an angle or master a subject completely. I mean, isn't it amazing that anyone can build wealth? I think it is. I mean, you can start with just 25 quid a month, less than £6 a week, and you can see benefits from putting that money away. As long as you keep going, as long as you hold your nerve, as long as you increase your savings amount regularly and ignore the media, you will reap all the rewards of being an investor. You don't need to be smart, you just need to be not stupid, consistently. It is striking to me just how much of what Charlie Munger says is about the investor and not about investing per se. There are a million ways, different ways to invest: active, passive, momentum, value, growth, factor, income, total return. All of these methods will serve you perfectly well over time. They will, of course, wax and wane at different times. But whichever option you choose, or blend of many options, it's always going to be you that's doing the choosing. And you will always be the biggest determinant in your success or in your failure. The magic in investing comes from the behavior of the investor. It's you that will make or break your financial future. And of course, the best thing of all is that you are just about the only thing that you can control in all this. We're going to spend quite a lot of time on this subject this year, so subscribe if you're not already, and stay tuned for the next video. And while you're waiting for that to come out, maybe watch this one over here, because it's really good. And I'll see you next time.